Hi guys, today we'll talk about one of the most classical or maybe the most popular species of Phalaenopsis out there and one of the easiest one to grow as well. If you're very curious about Phalaenopsis schilleriana, maybe that's the video for you. Stick here with me and we'll explore a little bit about this plant. To start, as I always start, I like to start giving you some information about the background of my plant. So this species is from the Philippines. So it's about one island in the Philippines in Asia. However, although this plant can be found inside the jungle and that it's a species that was discovered more than 200 years ago, it's very well known among the collectors in the globe. Nonetheless, it's a beautiful species. I'm so in love with it. It's one of the most beautiful tones of pink that I've seen in orchid flowers, and it's so delicate. And also the perfume, the subtle rose perfume, it's exactly the one that I can outstand and that I love. It's not, you won't feel like sick, or it's not powerful and strong that will kick you out of the room. So I'm super in love with it, and I decided to record a video for you, and I hope you enjoy. I give you some care tips for this plant, but just as a caveat here before we start, I need to tell you that this is one of the easiest species out there for you to grow. So if you are successful with Phalaenopsis, the one that you buy in garden centers, grocery supermarkets, grocery stores, supermarkets, whatever you call it, whenever you are in the world, you'll be great with this plant. As I said, it comes from a tropical country, so it enjoys its warm temperature during the day. It grows in the temperature like intermediate to warm growing type of orchid, so between 20 to 32 degrees Celsius. And what's interesting is because where this plant comes from, when it's nighttime, it gets a little bit cooler, so it has maybe 9 degrees Celsius difference in temperature between day and night. Another thing that it's really interesting about this plant is that, talking about light, it grows actually in the middle of the forest, you know, attached to tree trunks. So it's used to have a shaded location. It would love some early morning direct sunlight or end of the day direct sunlight, but it can grow in shaded locations with some indirect sunlight or sheared curtains. So whenever you keep your Phalaenopsis, this one will grow amazingly there. That's why I think, although it is a species, if you have never experienced with species and you love Phalaenopsis, you should go for this one, because it's very adaptable, very easy for you to grow it inside your place. And it's beautiful, really beautiful. I'm so in love with this. And I still have one bloom here to open. So as I mentioned, it's an epiphyte, like other Phalaenopsis, grow on top of tree trunks. You have to offer the mix that you plant, you pot all of your other orchids. Something interesting is when it's summer in the middle of some tropical forests where this grows as well, you have usually heavy rain, so this plant receives lots of water. And when it's winter, you have much less rain, so the plant will be drier for longer. Something that you need to keep an eye on it is during winter, avoid overwatering it, having it moist all the time, because you may suffocate the roots, have some root rot. But if you are able, if your medium is drying on time, or if you have confidence with the mix that you use for other orchids, it should be completely fine. So you have already explored light, watering. Talking about the blooming, it will happen with this one. So it blooms when you have a drop in temperature. So now it's winter. So what happened is the temperature drops, and these plants understood, the hormones understood that it was time to start spiking and blooming. That's why I have this beautiful cascade here. It's growing naturally, pendant. That's what I like. I didn't want to stake this time, but I can see that it becomes a massive plant. And with time, I will have a much longer spike, so I may have to attach it somewhere because I don't have the space on the shelving for it to grow. The reason why my plant, the spike is growing on the opposite side of its beautiful leaves is because of the light source. So the spike grew towards the light source. That was the opposite side of its leaves. That's my fault. But something that I noticed as well, usually with Phalaenopsis, if you want to have a beautiful cascading of blooms, all of the buds opening towards the same direction, you need to keep it all the time the same position, so the buds, they will open towards the light source and they won't be looking all over the place. This one, it's not the case. What I noticed is that the spike grew towards the light source, but the buds, they were intercalating and they opened on the same position. They didn't change position as I moved the plant. I think genetically it is built, probably, sorry about the terms, to open in this position, each flower opposite each other. I'm sure it has a name for it. I don't know the name exactly, but I am sure. So it didn't change with the light position, which is great because it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. And the reason why my flower spike is not so big and I don't have so many flowers is that I have a very young plant. It's the first time that this plant is blooming. I bought it as a baby. I think it came from Europe. And the reason why I really wanted these Phalaenopsis and the reason why many people collect this Phalaenopsis is not only because it's very easy to grow, it has beautiful flowers that are also perfumey, but because of its leaves. There are other varieties with maybe grayish leaves, but the mottling on the leaves and how they come with this pattern, and they will grow longer and longer. It's not known for being a small plant, usually get very, very large. It's because people collect it for its foliage as well, not only because of its flowers. So when the plant's not in bloom, you can enjoy beautiful foliage. And it's stunning. I love it. I love it so much. I love everything about this plant. And I knew I would. This was my wish list last year, and I managed to buy it. So I'm very, very happy. And I wasn't expecting it to bloom so soon. So if you buy a young plant, a young Phalaenopsis schilleriana, I'm sure you'll be able to have blooms soon, because as I noticed, it blooms in a young age as well. It's not the most perfect. Probably next year it will produce 1,000 of blooms, tons of blooms. But for now, I'm so happy. If you haven't noticed yet, it produces a beautiful cascading. I have only 2, 4, 6 flowers. What's great, if you want to experience something new, if you have experience with Phalaenopsis and you do well with them, and you want to try a species, why not try this one if it's affordable? You shouldn't pay much. This plant is not supposed to be a very expensive one. It has been cloned many times in nurseries. The downside of it is that you cannot find it in garden centers, for example. You need to look for orchid nurseries. So you cannot find it everywhere. I think that's the downside, but you can find it, I hope, in your territory for very affordable price. And I'm sure this plant must be the mother of many Phalaenopsis out there that are fragrant as well. Mine is in a self-watering pot. So look at the size of these roots. This is one, and when it was growing, it had a very, very strong pink point. So the growth point was pink. What's beautiful. Oh, I have one here, but you won't be able to see. So I have a growth point here that's also pink, which is very cute. And I have more roots here. So it's a pretty tough species. So one of the toughest ones. Again, very easy to grow and to care for. If you want to start your collection with something that you can find probably most nurseries, and it is affordable, it's in a species, and it's very easy for you to look after in your home with your home environment, or for home temperature and your home lighting without any gadgets. You don't need to buy growing lights for each, none of the sorts. Go for the Phalaenopsis schilleriana. I'm sure you won't regret it. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I will do another video about Phalaenopsis shortly, show you my collection of mini Phalaenopsis. I have many perfumy ones that probably got some genes of the schilleriana on it. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel, it helps me a lot, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye!